Hi, Vibhu. My name is Dwayne Johnson. Some people know me as The Rock. I am the highest paid actor currently in Hollywood. I heard about what you're working on, and I'm looking to become a startup investor. Tell me in 1 minute what you're working on. Go ahead.
Hello, Dwayne. Let me introduce myself. I'm Vibhu Bhan, and I'm the CEO of Talkative.
Hmm.
I just need a minute of your time to tell you
Sure.
how we plan to monetize emotions online.
Mm.
So, a quick
Okay.
background. Let me start with a couple of facts. 97% of Fortune 500 companies actively rely on social media to not just create engagement, but also conversions. And these same companies are poised to actually raise their social media spending by 50%. But
Mm.
today, they're limited to tracking their social media impact based on counting. And that
Mm.
is that is the problem we want to solve. Our mission is to help them or any other company humanize their engagement through emotionally enhanced content and targeting. The market that's related to this push that we're hoping to do is the customer insights market, and that is poised to grow to 20 billion by
Mm.
2026. So Talkative is a platform which helps marketers and product teams monitor and raise their product or service NPS score
Mm.
using the world's most accurate, fastest, and patented emotion analysis technology
Okay.
with the goal of helping them humanize relationships through emotionally enhanced intelligence. What we're looking for today, we're looking for the right partner who can help us scale our sales and marketing. We're
Mm.
looking for 3 million as seed investment to
Yep.
spark and fuel this marketing push, which highlights our globally leading accuracy, speed, and differentiators. We have already patented our technology, and we have a really strong patent portfolio. And I would love to catch up with you over a coffee and explore how we can work together and scale.
All right. Excellent. Thank you for that, Vibhu. Let's get some feedback for Vibhu on his pitch. Okay. And Vibhu, couple of questions. You used a term you talked about, and when you gave your one liner, this was like a minute in. You talked about emotion. There was like an emotional engine or something that you spoke about. Can you say what that was again?
So Talkative wants to help marketing and product teams elevate their
Yeah.
NPS score using the world's most accurate, fastest, and patented emotion analysis technology.
Okay.
Is
Analysis.
that the one?
Yes.
Because I use emotions everywhere. I'm very emotional that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. No. No. I get that. Right. Net promoter score. Okay. Got that. Um, so this is really interesting, right? People like, for those that are on social media, you raise an interesting point around engagement. Engagement on social media is currently just numbers, right? It's
Correct.
number of likes, numbers of shares. Uh,
Count,
we've
count, count.
we've
Yeah.
done like and dislike now, okay? But that
Yeah.
also does not have different emotions, right? Tell
Right.
me about emotions. Let's talk a little bit about emotions, Vibhu. Like, so you're talking to Dwayne the Rock Johnson, right? And he's obviously got a huge social media following. So there was
Absolutely.
there's probably a value for influencers as well because they're leveraging their social
Everyone.
media for commercially. But tell me about emotions. Like, you like, let's just suppose we have like and dislike already. Okay. So
Oh,
if
of course.
emotion
Yeah.
was just like and dislike, then you don't have a business. But you
No,
know that emotions are a lot more. So tell me about the
nuance.
different types of emotions and how those understanding those emotions actually help conversion rates. Okay. I'd like to know that, Vibhu. Go ahead.
So really good question, right? There's a big difference between even sentiment and emotion. So sentiment analysis, everybody understands.
Yeah.
Again, it's just a score and very heavily dependent on counts. Emotion is not, and if you think of sentiment, it's positive, negative, neutral, and
Yeah.
that's where it stops.
Yeah.
But that's where emotions start, right? Positive, negative,
Yes.
neutral will give you a little indication of how people feel, but emotions go down to the level of, hey, are they stimulated? Are they angry? Are they trusting? Do they feel valued? They're all these key emotional states, and these are not new. I'm not creating these from businesses use these today. They die to learn how these emotions relative to their product, not just their brand, but they're not successful at it. Why? Because everything is based on count and not nuance. So for us, it's not how many times a word occurred. For us, it's the context within which a word, a product, or a service
Understood.
was explained. And
Yeah.
then we have built over the last 5 years, as I
Yeah.
explained, the patented technology,
Sure.
which has gone through 400 million different utterances with
Okay.
emotional nuances. And it has learned that across social media data, for us to kind of optimize it and handle one, sarcasm and slang like a
Okay.
boss.
So tell me about that, right? Let's talk. I want to just jump in a little bit more because you talked about emotions, trusting, happy, angry. Give me a couple of the ones that can tangibly help conversions, right? Because I'm assuming if the person is angry, they're not going to buy unless, of course, they're crowdfunding some sort of protest, right? Which
Yeah.
is not probably what you want to do. Tell me about the emotions that actually trigger conversions.
Absolutely. So it has to be positive emotions, and those are
Sure.
the ones that always trigger conversions. And I'll give you one example, right? We're
Yeah.
working with a company who does live polling. And what we're working with them on is during a basketball game,
Yeah.
as the plays are happening, because we're so fast and so accurate, we can
Yeah.
actually monitor these emotions every 15 minutes, right?
Mm.
So we come back to them to the polling company saying, hey, people really love this play, which was done by, let's say, LeBron James
Yep.
against another. I'm not a basketball crazy fan, so
Sure. Sure. Sure.
but the point is, as soon as it's about the moments, right? It's not about, of course, people are going to love LeBron James, duh. But
Yeah.
when, right? When is it? When does that moment occur? Right during
Yeah.
the game. Why? Because you want to fire off a
Okay.
LeBron James T-shirt offer to them right in, 5 minutes right after that moment happened,
Sure.
because
Sure.
most likely they will convert.
Yeah.
So this ability to learn. Sorry.
Yeah. So Vibhu, my question is, I want to just know a couple of things. So, the emotions that you can track that help conversion, right? So you talked about the LeBron James example. Is excitement, an emotion, right?
It was
Excitement.
pleased,
Sorry?
pleased.
Pleased. Okay.
That
Pleased.
was the emotion that led to most conversions in that type of pleased and
Pleased,
trusting.
excitement. Sorry?
Pleased and trusting were the two big emotions that came up during
Trusting, being
NBA
happy,
All-Star game.
excitement, being pleased. Okay. Right.
Correct.
I have to look up that word clearly because I think I can do better at that, in my
I can
personal
actually
life.
email you
Yeah. But do you get what I'm
our
saying?
legend.
What I want to, so I'll tell you how I see your product, Vibhu, right? And again, as part of these sessions, Vibhu, you've pitched your idea to me and I'm just sharing with you what's going on in my head over the last, couple of minutes of where I see this. What I see as your product is you do, instead of sentiment analysis, which is already being done, you're doing real-time emotion analysis on experiences, products, services that are going to help drive conversions. Your machine learning engine has already been trained, right? You already have 400 million input points and all that stuff is ready to go. And what happens is that because you can do this in real time, right? Part of the idea of conversion, right? Like knowing emotion and being able to do it real time is critically important because you're more like, to the LeBron James example, right? If you were to sell an NFT to a fan, the best time to do that is right then, correct? Right?
Yeah, he
Is that
just
right?
dunked it. People went crazy.
Yes.
Go.
Yes, right? So, LeBron James, for instance, he just had a game winner for the All-Star game. Okay, right?
Yeah.
And so sentiment analysis is that, but that's just for the NBA. I'm looking at it more in terms of content online, right?
Beyonce concert. And you're right, it doesn't have to be events. But,
Yeah. And I'm The Rock right now, so I know those people
right.
personally. But I'm talking more about I'm talking more about just average commerce, right? I'm on social media and I'm watching a Lululemon video, right? And if that is happening real time, I'm feeling pleased, and I have the trust and excitement, right? And I'm feeling pleased. These are the things that are going to help conversions. How much better if you get this done right? Because there's two elements. Your systems need to be able to make sure that the offer is available as well, because you're doing the analysis, but if you can't give the offer at the real-time thing, you miss out. Does your platform do that?
We don't say, we didn't build that yet. That's why we're looking. So that is our stage 2, right? First one's like our core. Can we do something that nobody else can do? And then what we use it for, it could be a billion different things.
Understood.
So that's why we partnered with like Vote Frenzy, who does live polling today.
Sure.
We partnered with them because they don't have any way of figuring out the moment. They have a way of distributing the offers, but they don't have a way to figure out when should I distribute that offer. So that is how we added more value and in that partnership.
Vibhu, tell me about,
to be self-reliant on that.
Tell me about, Vibhu, tell me about how much better, like what are current conversion rates, and if your product worked as per spec with the emotional analysis as well as the real-time offering, which you're going to build, okay? Tell me about how this is going to, what are current conversion rates? And with your emotional analysis tool and emotional product recommendation tool, okay? How much are you going to improve conversion rates? Tell me about that.
Well, the idea is to improve it by magnitudes. So what that means is, because the live offer is new, we don't have good data, and we're data people, so we don't just say what's not there. However, all the work that we've done over the last 3 years, we found that on the conversion side, right, we found that it elevated the conversion by 3 or 5% using purely, and this is travel, right? Our first project was working with Maldives resorts. They were spending, let's say, $10,000 every week trying to get Europe and US customers. Their conversion rate was about 5% at that time. Right? Once we learned all these emotional blah, 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 what we told them was, don't just use, Maldives luxury travel. Use view from my water villa. Use multi-ethnic buffet. Use private swimming pool at my villa. Use these contextual things that people are so crazy about, and that increased their conversion. Not that lowered. Sorry, it didn't increase their conversion rate because we didn't run it that long to get that data, but it lowered their cost CPC by 30%.
Okay, interesting. That's a lot of money. Huge
money. Right? Why? Because you're not, and why did that happen? Because they now weren't only focusing on everything that Expedia and Travelocity and everybody is going after. They were looking at what belongs to them, their social proof, and they were amplifying their own social proof, which is obviously going to be cheaper.
Understood. You're looking for $3 million, Vibhu? Is that what you're looking for?
We're looking for 3 million seed funding and this is across sales, marketing, product. All 3 verticals will benefit from this at varying different degrees.
Understood. Okay. Anyone else has any feedback? There's some great feedback in the chat from the community. But whilst that's happening, Vibhu, would you like me to pitch your idea to you?
Please.
All right. Vibhu, who would you like to be? Are you going to be Dwayne Johnson as well? Have you always wanted to be The Rock, or do you want to be LeBron James? You can be anyone you want. This is like, you know what I mean?
Well, just for laughs, I'll be Mark Zuckerberg, and I have no clue what emotions mean.
Zuckerberg. All right. I can pitch Zuckerberg. But I
have a lot of money, so.
That's no problem. Zuckerberg's fun to pitch to. All right. So I'll do my 1-minute pitch. What we're going to do, and we're going to make sure that I'll try to bring in some of the other components, right? So I'm going to try and pitch it a little bit differently. Are you ready, sir?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. You can introduce yourself and I'll start. Go ahead.
Hey, I'm Zuckerberg. If you want to talk about emotions, I got dollars.
All right. Hello, Mr. Zuckerberg. My name is Ash Singh, and I'm part of the Talkative team. As you know, because you've been a master at social networking, that we have lived in a world of engagement and interactions, right? We've always been looking over the last 10 years. You invented the like and the dislike, and that is the way we have assessed how social media is evaluated. I believe now in 2022, our platform is going to be the next generation to allow us to fully understand the emotions that are going through the customers. And we have spent the last 5 years building and patenting our machine learning algorithm that has 400 million inputs already to enable us to fully understand the emotions that they're going through whilst they're posting content as well as absorbing content. And what that does, it allows us in real time to make recommendations based on understanding if they're angry, if they're happy, if they're excited, if they're trusting us, right? And you know, trust is a big word these days, Mr. Zuckerberg. And if they're pleased, okay? What that does, it helps lower cost per clicks drastically, and I have some examples to share. But more importantly, it's going to double our conversion rates as well. I believe we have all the right processes in place, and I think Facebook is the platform that should allow us to pilot this. We're looking for $3 million to build this out. I'd love to meet with some of your engineers to see if there's an opportunity for us to collaborate, and even potentially see if you would like to acquire our business if it's a good fit for your Meta platform. Thank you.
Wow.
Okay.
I finally see the value of emotions. Thank you, Ash.
Thank you, Mr. Zuckerberg. Yeah. So what I wanted to do was, because I know that you used a couple of other words like NPS and all this other stuff, I kind of dumbed it down. I went straight for the average investor. Okay. How do we get that point where it's like, this is where we are in the world today, and we're just doing likes and dislikes, and that's it. Okay. Now we have this real time thing, and I've already trained it, and I can give you and I can tell you how people are feeling, right? What I could have done as well is, it's because we're talking for real time polling, as you suggested, for influencers, for brands, it just goes everywhere, right? Like, even like, for instance, you know, confidentially, you can plug this into your family WhatsApp conversation. So when your mother-in-law is not happy, you understand what's going on. You can predict, you know, when your wife is not happy, or your mother-in-law is unhappy. I mean, there's a big value there, but probably something that's more of a different use case, right? For those of us that are going through that experience. But the point is that there's the use cases were there, but for me, it was just about, you have built something that is now for the next generation. We need to know how people are feeling, right? We need to understand sentiment. And Vibhu, the other thing I want you to strongly consider as part of what you're doing is, because if you understand emotions, the use case around what you're doing is beyond just the money, the cost per click, and the and the cost of conversion. Yes. What I want you to think about as part of your pitch, and I didn't weave this in, but I thought I would just share this, is that we live in a world where our current systems are not enabling us to fully understand the emotions of people like young women on social media. Okay. And that's a big problem in our society. So I want you to, you know, at the right time, my hope is that, you know, whatever you build, because you're building these processes now, right? And for us to make the changes that we want to see in the world, we can't rely on the existing companies that are only motivated by financial terms. It's people like yourself that are building companies now, but weaving something in where, you know, we can detect, using your emotional tools to detect if there's at-risk teens, or people that are struggling with other mental health elements. I think that's a very powerful thing, right? So weave that into your product scope, because I think, you know, and if you're successful, give it for free to governments, you know, give it for free to hospitals, right? Have a social good around what you're doing, because I think that what you've built is something that, you know, if you build it out right now, I've always found that, you know, if you do good for the universe, the universe comes back to you in leaps and bounds, right? So Vibhu, I want to thank you again for what you've built. Fascinating stuff. And we'll make sure we have a link to his platform, the Talkative platform, as well as his contact details in the show notes today as well. Thank you, Vibhu. Have a wonderful day, sir.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone.